So this is be a little just cool comparison if you want to get into what's happened before, and what's possible. If you go back and you look at Hex, but you look at it relative to Ethereum, back from the beginning. I'm going to go ahead and delete this out so we have a clean chart, and we'll turn on linear chart, and we'll go to like a 4 hour so we get a lot more nitpicky data because it's going to prove my point here. So we'll go back to the very beginning of Hex, right? In the very beginning of Hex, this is Hex denominated in Ethereum, right? This is when everyone called it a scam and that it wasn't ever going to do anything. And like you saw this initial rally, and then the price came back and crashed really hard. Let's see, how far was it down at this point against Ethereum?
So this is against
57%.
ETH. So like if ETH did well and Hex did well, then the amount that ETH did well wouldn't be shown on this chart.
Right, because Hex technically can run harder due to the lower liquidity.
Yeah, and that's what we see, huh?
Well, so it's just interesting that what I'm trying to point out here by showing you guys this is like, look at what happens like when you least expect it and the price is doing nothing on this chart, and everyone starts to FUD it and say it's going to zero. That's when you start to get the massive move. And this time, price went up 135% in 7 days and made a new all-time high. I'm sorry, I miscalculated, 200%. And then it just kept going. And this is just the beginning. And like, so then you keep going, you go, this is when Godwell comes in. Look at that. It just goes from, which is already amazing price performance. So then the Godwell steps in and just wicks the price up like crazy. It flattens the entire chart out, right?
Yeah.
You can see as this move happens and plays out,
changes the scale.
It just destroys the scale, right? Because so few people held it, and so many people wanted it. And this is a function of price and demand. And you can see these candles down here now. They're so small. I have to get rid of the moving average because otherwise you can't see them. So that was the first major top, right? And so as I shrink the price down, look at this point. People had to be really bearish on Hex at this point because it was really underperforming Ethereum. Here you're looking at 82% down in 90 days from May of 2020 going into DeFi summer when all the copycats started to come out and people would FUD it.
And you're looking at probably going in between 5,000 and 20,000 participants, or like I would say stakers during that period, huh?
Yeah. Yep. So there wasn't many. You're looking for as far as adoption rates. I remember there was 10,000 wallets day one, right? And then by now, yeah, you're probably looking at what, 25, 30,000 at best.
Yeah.
And so then we start to get back up. This wasn't even Big Payday yet, if I'm not mistaken. Or no, that was Big Payday. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
This was Big Payday. So leading into Big Payday, people wanted to game the system. This would be the equivalent of like Pulse Chain launching, right? You're going to prices like, all right, it made a nice little run off the lows, triple bottom, ran up like 80%, 100% off the lows, and then went sideways. And then people were like, all right, we're going to game this. We're going to buy the price up and stake it and take our 30% gain the day after the fork, or I'm sorry, after the Big Payday bonus. And that's exactly what happened. It ran up like crazy, made a new all-time high, crashed all the way back down 85% against ETH. Again, people are FUDding it, saying it's going to zero. But to everyone's dismay, there was real demand there for this product. And even though you made a lower high in ETH terms on the USDC pair, you actually got to 2 cents right here. So you made a higher high on the USDC pair, but because ETH was so strong, Hex made a lower high against ETH, right? So then you fast forward. This is when Hex was trading at like 0.6 of a cent. And we just could not get anything going against Ethereum at all. It was just crazy. We just tried, we couldn't get it. And then finally we started to make our moves. And now this is when Hex is at 4 cents, then 7 cents, and 20 cents. Then we go up for the all-time high. And this is when we peaked. Like, here we're at 10 cents. Then we go up to 56 cents. So by now, you can look back in history and look at these initial candles and stuff. That's absolutely squashed down to like nothing.
Yeah.
Even these moves look small in comparison. And now look at it. It just keeps going and going. And this is bananas. Like now you're like, this is what I expect, right? So if I zoom out now and I go to a daily chart, get rid of that magnet. Bam. Bam. Falling wedge. Huge breakout. What do you see? What do you see here?
Falling wedge.
Falling wedge.
Start of big breakout.
We're just starting what is going to be a move for the ages against Ethereum. We're talking break the all-time high and beyond. This is how far we exceeded this last all-time high. If I just measure this move, we went 344% off that level. So if you get this thing again, that's kind of what you're looking at. Like, it's going to completely destroy the ETH chart. And this
What
is
level
where,
is that saying?
00073. So in ETH terms, what is that? $1.16. $1.16, guys. That's what we're.
Wow.
That's one.
Has
of
a
our
nice ring
targets.
to it.
I like it. I like it a lot. So again, time frame subject to change, but from a trader perspective, you've already got confirmation. Breakout, retest, resumption, and no liquidity. No one's willing to sell because there's a fork coming. You got a documentary coming out this year, a video series. You got Pulse Chain launching. You got Matty Allen streaming 6 times a week. It's just endless, guys. You got so much hype. You got Real Meat Kevin finally admitting Hex is the future. You got Ivan on Tech saying he's abandoning CoinMarketCap.
That's right.
It's so bananas. Like, this is going to be the move for the ages. And meanwhile, you have new ETH Genesis whales coming in, bringing in millions of dollars and supporting the price and buying it up.
You do.
And staking it. So it's pretty incredible. If that doesn't get your blood boiling, I don't know what will.